The culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on the fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
Both games.
Pittsburgh's in a weird spot. Mostly because no matter what they'll do, they'll somehow bullshit their way to a 9-win season. It is the law. And that offseason kind of proves that with attempts to fix holes in departing talents with low-key moves. Although Pat Pete is kind of a big name, even if he's not what he was in his prime. Gotta replace Cam Sutton somehow. Same as the usually snake-bitten Keanu Neal replacing Terrell Edmonds. And that linebacking core. Nearly everyone who played there last year is gone. Honestly might be for the best, but instead of those men, you get a Landon Roberts and Cole Holcomb. Hopefully they will be the men that will fix that position for the first time in years. Offensive line improvements? Say hello to Isaac Seumalo and Nate Herbig. Now only if they could do something about offensive tackle, hint, hint, Steelers. That'd be great.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, Georgia.
Thank fucking God I don't have to witness Dan Moore be absolutely overmatched at blindside for the third year in a row. The Steelers knew it as well. You invested heavily in your skill players. Now invest in your line and make it one of the best in football again. It didn't cost much to move up a few positions, and it allowed them to draft an absolute fucking mower. Pure chiseled stone that can set the position for a decade if he succeeds. Love the pick. And don't worry, Yinzers, Joey Porter Jr. fell to number 32. The bloodlines remain strong. Pittsburgh has so many family connections on the team, they're almost incestuous. Is there any doubt that they'll get any less than 8 wins this year? It's both a blessing and a curse. The standard of the standard. Just like the Steelers somehow refusing to die. With a hopefully healthy TJ Watt and a freshly paid Alex Highsmith, they'll be looking to terrorize foes left and right. They're not a sexy team by any standards, but they really don't give a shit. They'll win ugly with their opponents self-destructing and by Deus Ex Machina, and you'll like it. Their floor is set, but the key for any greater success will have to come with the allegedly small hands of Kenny Pickett. I may be biased in my love for him, but that's because I'm a masochist for Pitt football. Once again, not the sexy pick to break out as a QB option, but the Steelers will make it work out. Don't use logic with this team. Just go with the flow. In the AFC East, regardless of competition, the Bills are still the best in class in my opinion. AFC North, barring more injury to Joe Burrow, Cincy takes it with their elite offense. The AFC South, it's Jacksonville's to lose. They have to win it by default, right? Although we did say that about Tennessee last year. And the AFC West is a Kansas City affair. As usual. Wild cards, though, they're really hard to gauge. Pick them out of a hat, I guess. Ravens, Chargers, and Jets. Why Jets? Because this is usually how ridiculous it tends to be. Sue me. I'm sorry for all the teams I jinxed as always. I regret nothing. There's a match in Pittsburgh to prove your mettle in. There's some hope in Steelers land. Undefeated preseason with the offense looking competent and then... Yes, this is totally what we were expecting here. Did we really say hope? San Fran straight up pants them in every facet of play. Dead serious, everything. Say, Pat Pete, how many interceptions did you end up with? Brock Purdy was so easy to read that he diced up that ballyhoot zone D all game long. The only players who showed up for the black and gold were Presley Harvin and TJ Watt. Kenny Pickett was dog shit, Matt Canada's offense was puke, the defense sold more than local real estate, and Mike Tomlin uttered something about the standard or some shit. Pittsburgh hasn't been this destroyed since the steel mill shut down. The Niners. Setback? More like complete domination. I legitimately don't know what the hell I even witnessed. This was a game? This happened? I thought it was a fever dream after getting a contact high. I'm gonna have to separate this one, aren't I? Yeah, I am. Fuck life. Apparently, there will be no other sports covered. I can't escape it. And of course, it's involving the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers. Did you see how awful it was for them last week? Any hope for them in the preseason was destroyed in about 5 minutes. San Francisco came in and smashed them to pieces. Everything was horrible, nothing is fine. Matt Canada is still here despite only 1 yard of offense deep into the second quarter. And the hits keep coming for the Steelers. Kinda literally. The team's banged up. Cam Hayward, Deontay Johnson, and Anthony McFarland are all on IR. Hayward's presence will be sorely missed, and depth will be tested. Their opponent this week are blood-hungry Elves. Cincinnati poked this bear one too many times and paid dearly for it. The Browns annihilated the Bengals like Art Modell screwing over Paul Brown. A strong defense featuring an offensive Deshaun Watson doing things. They pray for his bounce back. Nick Chubb, however, is still as beastly as ever. He owns the Steelers like rental property most games. Unfortunately for them, their O-line's taken a blow. Starting right tackle Jack Conklin is out for the season. It's not a critical loss, but over time it could affect the men behind him. Monday Night Football, the scene, the second game of the night. Not much happened in the first one. I'd like to believe both Saints and Panthers fans would like to keep it that way. It's all but must win for Pittsburgh, which will be interesting considering they have no offense. Cleveland's looking to go 2-0 for the first time in 30 years. A lot's at stake for both teams. And as the game begins,
Chubb splits out to the top of the screen. Quick throw, right the deflection and interception.
the bullshit strikes with fury. Thank the Lord Harrison Bryant lathered his hands in grease. No grip as it pinballs right into the hands of Alex Highsmith for a pick six. The crowd is alive. Hope is returned for about a minute. Take two on the Browns' drive. This one goes a little more smoothly. There isn't a botched play to start it. In fact, Cleveland manages to move the ball forwards this time. At least until Joey Porter Jr. leaps onto the scene to force a fourth down and field goal. God bless nepotism. Asking for a friend, can he also return kicks? Gunnar Olszewski is many things. Good is not one of them. His receiver instincts had to kick in on a kickoff going out of bounds. Get his ass off the team. I'm done with him. In fact, I'm getting that way with Kenny Picktoff. What was that throw, man? Right in the breadbasket of Grant Delpit? I thought you were done with this shit. Fortunately, the defense isn't done eating Deshaun alive. Mike Tomlin then used his telekinetic powers to make the Browns miss the field goal. Hallelujah. Perhaps in the next lifetime, we'll discover an offense that can convert a first down. This one gives us no such thing. There's also no skill from Pat Pete, who drapes Amari Cooper in decoration as he catches a first down. God bless the fact that Deshaun throws to Elijah Moore, who demanded his way out of New York to catch the ball out of bounds. Fourth down is upon us, but Deshaun forces his hands into a position where the Steelers don't want them. It's a first down to end the quarter.
Hold it!
Tomlin's challenging this. Oh Lord, here comes a wasted timeout. Wait a second. The ball was knocked out before his knee went down. Thank the gods the doctoring of the tape has worked wonders. The bullshit of Steeler football is real. And now we must travel back in time. To the first quarter. A simpler time. A kinder time. A time where Gunnar Olszewski is still fucking trash, and what the hell is happening with the football? Jesus Lord, the field's become a pinball table and cats are dancing with dogs. Quick, someone tilt the field so it rolls back to Cleveland territory. It sadly doesn't, and the Browns are in prime field position. And Nick Chubb crushes this team like a lantern fly. Why did you have to take out Nick Chubb? What the hell did he do to you? I love Nick Chubb. I look forward to seeing him play every time Cleveland plays the Steelers. He's a beast, and one of the best runners in the game. And now his knee's destroyed.
I am told that the replay of Nick Chubb getting injured is not to be seen.
Let's put it this way. The knee is not supposed to bend 90 degrees to the right. That's structural damage. Worse, this was the same knee that got blown up when he was a young runner at Georgia almost a decade ago. It's not just the season that might be over for him. A brutal loss not just for the Browns, but for the game of football. I don't know if Minka was deliberately aiming low or if that notorious Pittsburgh sod was awful, but I hate this more than you can imagine. It's fucking bullshit. Well, Kareem Hunt, welcome back to the fold. Cleveland gets a touchdown with Jerome Ford, but it feels more devastating than anything. Their offensive catalyst is gone, but a great miracle is about to take place. Pittsburgh did something on offense. An incredible sight. They did jack shit afterwards because they fulfilled their quota for the drive. Pickett can't throw accurately, but the boss can kick, so 3 more points on the board. But for the Browns, when it shits, it's diarrhea. Elijah Moore makes a great catch, but oh, he can't keep both feet in bounds again. What a pity. May the Steelers do something with this blessing.
Pickett wide open, Pickens. There he goes. Touchdown Steelers, back on top.
The Steelers scored an offensive touchdown? Longer than 10 yards. In an actual football game. See, this is why you throw to George Pickens. That motherfucker makes magic happen. Maybe they can get the 2-point conversion, too. I asked for too much. Holy roller roll. Damn it. Continue offensive ineptitude on both fronts. Elijah Moore, shocker, can't keep both feet in bounds. The Steelers simply can't keep both feet upright. This is the time for Deshaun Watson to shine. With how much they paid in draft capital and guaranteed money, it has to be a record-setting moment. And it was for TJ Watt. He killed Deshaun to set the team record for sacks. Well done. Cleveland here's a field goal as compensation. It's halftime and I legitimately don't know how the Steelers have the lead. At this point I've learned one thing. Don't ask questions, just embrace the bullshit of Steeler football. Even crazier, Pittsburgh manages to get back in field goal range. But Kenny can't throw accurately, so they'll have to settle for Chris Boswell. One of the few offensive weapons that can do anything. Speaking of one of the few offensive weapons that can do anything, here's Jerome Ford. When holes close strong side, new windows of opportunity open. In this case, all the way down to the 1 yard line where Pierre Strong puts it in for an easy touchdown. Deshaun manages to do something for once and get the 2-point conversion. Well, it was nice knowing the lead while it lasted. With this shit offense, nothing's happening. Kenny just dies in the pocket. The fortunate thing is that Cleveland's is almost as bad. Deshaun Watson fucking sucks. We're not even at the point of rust anymore. The guy's visibly lost a step or three since happy endings were silenced. His only offensive prowess is in face mask penalties and accosting refs. Deshaun's learned well. He says he did nothing wrong. Deshaun Watson actively denying touching someone he shouldn't have. The fruit's hanging so low it may as well be on the ground. He should be thankful Pickett's been shittier or else he'd be getting ripped harder than he already is. Maybe Eckershure's insurance is part of the sponsorship agreement. I know they don't sell health insurance, I don't give a shit. Anything's useful in this shit heap of injuries. Thank God Presley Harvin is the greatest punter in the world. A 3-point deficit is more like 300 with the Trudeau offense on display. They're gonna need some high-end talent to give them another 3 and out.
4-man rush, Njoku underneath, 4th down. Ball comes out.
That's a start. And the reward is truly great. Nobody blocking Sione Takitaki for a 3 and out. Once again, Presley Harvin is the greatest punter in the world. God bless his thick-legged greatness. It's all part of the master plan.
Neal showing blitz, here he comes. Here I pressure ball. Save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
All of Yinzerdom is shrieking their war cry. Kinda sounds like a TIE fighter. High-end talent bailing out the Steelers again to give them the lead by 4. Highsmith and Watt, a blessing of blessings. May they reinforce to the world that Deshaun Watson still sucks. The world cheers. Now the Steelers can end it with, what the fuck was that, Kenny? Dead serious, what the hell was that play call? What is execution? Can we do it to the offense? The capacity crowd wants blood. It should have happened last season. Now Cleveland has a chance to win because the Steelers have a Yugo for an offense. Time winding down and they're pushing down the field to about the 50-yard line. It's time for the Pittsburgh D to bail this team out one last time. Deshaun can run, but he can't hide from the hands of Elijah Riley? Okay then, 4th down is upon them. And the predictable happens. Deshaun throws an incomplete pass. The Steelers have somehow won. And we technically ask this every week. Joey Porter Jr. got away with some grabbing of the jersey, but do you really want to give Deshaun any good fortune? This is the QB you're stuck with, Cleveland. Have fun with that. I don't exaggerate when I say that this is probably one of the 10 worst losses in Browns history. Not just in the way they lost. Not in how they self-destructed on offense. Not even in losing to goddamn Pittsburgh yet again. It's in the long-term ramifications. Deshaun Watson isn't going to save them. Their best defensive weapon may have played his last game as a Brown. And the whole game plan fell apart once he was gone. This was devastating. And it might derail the season in spite of their defense. And against a hated rival? Them? Jesus. As what is supposedly the greatest game finally ends, we continue with more bullshit to come. Matt Canada remains because the Steelers don't fire coaches. And Mike Tomlin wants the fans fat, sassy, and spoiled. Did Tomlin just call me fat? Pittsburgh headed to Raiderland is usually a death sentence for the Steelers. They haven't won there since 1995. Will this game be any different? Apparently yes. This game answered who would win in a contest. A stoppable force or a movable object. Today the stoppable force proved superior. The Steelers scored points on offense. Over 20 of them. I don't know how to feel about this. Yes, the Raiders' defense is notoriously terrible, but actual production on offense? Kenny Pickett was throwing accurately? Consecutive first downs? This feels like a fever dream. Jimmy G was gifting the defense some tasty turnovers of his own, and Pittsburgh has a chance to put it away. Well, at least until the refs call Minka for a bullshit roughing the passer call and the Raiders score 8 in the 2-point conversion. 1-score game. And the Trudeau offense strikes again. Inoffensive and useless. The Raiders have a chance to tie the game up, but they are unfortunate. Josh McDaniels is their head coach. You have a 4th and 4 near the goal line, down by 8, and you kick a field goal? You're trusting your defense to make a stop? Good news, Josh, they fucking couldn't. The Steelers thank you for your idiocy. I get you had to score again, but you think it'd be easier to do so with the game at least winnable by a field goal? Pittsburgh's punishment will be more severe. Promoting Matt Canada for incredible offensive failure. 2 things come to mind immediately. First of all, Houston is nowhere near as bad as we all thought they'd be at the start of the year. A team down most of their offensive line and rebuilding at the skill positions looked like a calm, poised group that imposed their will on anyone they wanted. D'Amico Ryans has his men dialed in and is scheming against his opponents well to earn wins. On the other hand, Jesus fucking Christ, the Pittsburgh Steelers look like puke. This offense apparently shits itself in certain situations, like when there's a slight wind, or if someone opens the damn door, or if there's a failure to say enough Tomlinisms in a press conference. This defense couldn't do a thing against this? I get CJ Stroud looks really good, but this is ridiculous. This is now roughly month 13 of asking what it's going to take to get Matt Canada fired. The fucker got Kenny Pickett injured, potentially long term. A 4th and 1 out of shotgun? Are you trying to be this fucking stupid? Am I fat, sassy, and spoiled for wanting a fucking offense that can move the ball more than 10 yards a drive? Oh, there are going to be changes. Knowing this team, they'll be playing the David Bowie song at practice. What a fucking joke. AFC North football is an acid trip. Even then, that's not a good enough explanation for whatever the hell this game was. Matt Canada is apparently on the hot seat, which we all know isn't going to mean anything since the Steelers don't fire coaches. They can't fire a damn thing on offense either. The Boo Birds are flying down throughout every shitty play call and failed drive with pre-snap motion. The fan base yells fire Canada in unison, but you'd have to keep going to get any real change. Unfortunately for all of us, Mike Tomlin is a master of voodoo and the dark arts. The other team will conveniently fall apart when it matters yet again. The Ravens' receiving core hadn't dropped a pass all season, yet now they're dropping 9 mostly super easy catches with big implications. They pissed away at least 16 to 23 points just by fucking the ball every chance they got. Lamar's about to grab a machete and start hacking off their hands, because they sure as hell aren't using them here. If they aren't fucking up, then John Harbaugh is being a fucking idiot. Take the points and go up by 2 scores, dude. Don't try this cute shit before half. You're keeping Pittsburgh in the game in spite of how terrible they look. You know what they say? The longer you fuck around, the more you'll find out.
Snaps it. And it's blocked! Pittsburgh blocks it!
And right on cue, the Ravens begin to reap what they've dropped. Their offense has gone from dominant to hesitant and nervous. Afraid to fuck up. And they're fucking up as a result. Even their defense is crumbling to Steeler whatever you can call what they're doing. Be thankful that Matt Canada's a shit play caller and the offense can't perform. They're stuck kicking a field goal in the red zone. Their attack gets eaten alive again, but thankfully the Ravens have a secret weapon. Gunnar Olszewski. Why is this guy still on the team? Put this man where he belongs. In the garbage. I'd celebrate Baltimore's long guaranteed win, but then Lamar makes the shittiest throw he makes all game. Look, I know your receivers can't catch, but don't throw the ball right to the fucking cornerback. The Ravens can't get out of their own way, and the Steelers are getting bailed out of their own incompetence. As Kenny Pickett finally turns on since Matt Canada is locked away in a closet. Everyone watching already knows what's gonna happen.
We're down to 1:23 to go on a 2nd and 9. Pickett lines up a deep ball.
Separation! Touchdown! George Pickens!
You are absolutely pathetic, Baltimore. You spent too much time pissing around, wasting endless chances, and it cost you the damn game. The Ravens should have won this game by 30. That's how poorly they played. Steelers are out here fucking up on kneeing plays, and you still can't overcome their failures. This was total self-destruction. Technically, both teams lost. Pittsburgh may be temporary kings of the North, but Matt Canada's staying put. Nothing's going to change. This has literally been the Steelers for the past 5 or 6 years. Getting bailed out by splash plays and the other damn team collapsing to bullshit to another goddamn 9-win season. As it has always been written, Steelers get Super Bowl. Pittsburgh may be on the road, but it's at SoFi. No matter who's the home team here, the stands are going to be at least 3/4 black and gold. Nothing against the Rams, that's just how it goes. Speaking of that, the same shit happened on the field of play. I've spent weeks trying to figure out what the Rams are, and after this, I'm still in the same quandary. The first half Rams look decent enough. They're holding their own for a rebuilding team with a makeshift running back committee. And Puka Nakua's a beast. Then again, everyone looks good against Levi Wallace. With how poorly the Steelers played for 3/4, LA should have crushed them. But it's not a Pittsburgh game unless their opponent repeatedly self-destructs. Brett Maher missing multiple kicks badly. Matthew Stafford making his retro Detroit interception that looks incredibly awful. And failing to take advantage of multiple opportunities. You can't do that against the Steelers. In the fourth quarter, Kenny Pickett remembers he's an NFL quarterback and starts throwing dimes. Oh, Kenny, you go from looking like John Skelton for 85% of the game to becoming John Elway. Under his might and a strong running game, they overcome Canadian handicaps and take a 7-point lead. Now they have the final serve. And a first down here can finish it off for good.
It's Pickett, the sneak, and he looks to be short initially, but did he get that ball across the line to gain? My goodness! Just past the line to gain.
Wait a second, how the hell is this a first down? Pickett was nowhere near that spot. And it gets worse. The Rams have no timeouts and it's before the 2-minute warning. It can't be challenged. Grade A fuckery. LA, you've just experienced the bullshit of Steeler football. Best thing to do is not ask questions. The more you use your brain, the more ridiculous it gets. There comes a time when the endless bullshit must stop. All the fluke occurrences and opponents imploding will not be enough to pull out a win. On a miserable day in Pittsburgh, the Steelers were simply miserable. More offensive ineptitude, despite the endless opportunities handed to them. But all signs did point to a black and gold win. Their opponent repeatedly self-destructing in strange and unusual ways to keep them within a score in the first half. But apparently the football gods have had enough. Ref ball repeatedly fucks them with terrible penalties to give Jacksonville momentum. Amplifying it, Minka went down with injury. And Kenny Pickett was taken for rapture.
Oh my god, they've killed Kenny! You bastards!
They must rely on kissing the titties to field goals. As they get called for offsides on the starting guard? Was he even offsides? Do they ever call that penalty? The second field goal's missed. Momentum officially sacked. Canadian offense remains stereotypically inoffensive for most of the second half, and Jacksonville remains frustratingly inconsistent on offense. It's a Pittsburgh kind of football game, yet the Jags are besting them at it. I'd hope for a comeback, but kissing titties is not Kenny Pickett in the clutch. There will only be arm punts to the Hope defense. Not good when it's against the team that equals you in takeaway prowess. In ugly circumstances, Jacksonville pulls away from Steeler bullshit with the dub, and now control their own destiny. Now let's do something about that offensive consistency, please. Will Levis gets another moment in the sun. This time on the road in the house that endless bullshit built. Matt Canada's moving down to the sidelines for this game, which apparently means the offense will execute a near-perfect opening drive. The fuck has this been all year? Hiding down in Cancun? Sadly, there can be no consistency, since Pickett keeps overthrowing receivers and the defense keeps taking sloppy penalties to help the Titans down the field. It's about as unsightly as you'd expect from a football game involving Pittsburgh. Did you want something watchable? You're the real fool here. Levis looked decent, and there could be something here, but does he know who he's facing? Tomlin's got a meaningless streak to maintain. Don't ask questions as how the Titans' offense just goes flat in the second half. Just embrace the bullshit of Steeler football. You'll end up unconscious as the defense clamps down and suddenly wake up with a record over 500. Kenny will look like shit for 80% of the game, yet somehow turn into John Elway on the final drive. He's done this 7 times in his young career so far. Even if the defense keeps giving the Titans chances, they don't have the power to push through. No, we don't understand the Steelers either. I've honestly learned to stop thinking. It works out better in the long term. Packers fans, you may be confused as to why you have an extra loss, but the key is to never ask questions. Just embrace Steeler football. Fluke bullshit and convenient breaks are always the key. I'm shocked that both offenses are producing offense. 3 straight drives with touchdowns between sides? What did you do with the Matt Canada that I despise? Pittsburgh reverted to 80s smash mouth football and ran it down their throats. over 200 yards of rushing, and the Packers couldn't stop it. Kenny didn't even have to do that much. He's in Terry Bradshaw game manager mode. That game managing also came from the high-end talent of an extra point block. Remember this play later on. Not to mention a so-called incomplete pass that looked suspiciously backwards. The refs received the bribe from Pittsburgh on time. Excellent news. What we have is a surprisingly competitive game where we expected ugliness. Jordan Love is picking apart the Steelers' zone defense with some quality throws, giving Green Bay a chance to win. And Pittsburgh exists. Somehow. The black and gold up by 4. Love has a shot to steal the match and he's taking it. Until the ball lands right into the arms of Keanu Neal and the chance is dead. But then the Steeler offense returns, and one final chance has appeared. Unfortunately, the blocked kick is dooming them. They have to push with no timeouts. And it's down to a last gasp in the red zone.
One last chance for the Packers. Love throws, end zone, intercepted, and it's over.
I don't care about your logic or your fandangled stats. Steelers may be 6-0 in one-score games and they're getting vastly outgained in every single contest. We know what this means. This team is going to the goddamn Super Bowl. I am sold on this fact. They are going to pull out all the bullshit because it is real and Mike Tomlin is a voodoo priest. Don't lie to me. We know they're going to crush everyone by 3 points until they lose badly in the wildcard round. We are going to the goddamn Super Bowl. Let's fucking go! This game is going to be such AFC North football that it's going to cause a rip in the space-time continuum. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is being chucked into the fire again to replace Deshaun. And Kenny Pickett will be thrown out there in the longest pass the Steelers will make all game. The standard is the standard in Pittsburgh. All the lucky breaks and opportunities given in the world, yet the Steelers will piss it away every chance they get. This offense is horrid. It's a long broken record, but with how badly they're butchering Pickett, he's turned chicken shit out there. He's so afraid of making a mistake he isn't throwing down the middle of the field. The Browns' defense is destroying them not only physically, but psychologically. Kenny's regressed so badly that he can't throw a fucking football most plays. The dude got outplayed by a 5th-round rookie. That's a level of pathetic I never thought I'd see. The only offensive production on the game for Pittsburgh were splash plays by Jalen Warren. Make that guy the offensive coordinator. He's the only one doing a fucking thing on that side of the ball. And he's still getting less touches than Najee. Yet somehow, this is still a game because the Browns' offense is wrecked by injury and DTR can't solve the Steelers' defense or receiver drops. Cleveland then remembers what's led them to wins in the past, becoming the Steelers. They must rely on the bullshit to get them to victory. Too bad they're facing older brother and high-end talent will bail them out once again. Where's the high-end talent? Steelers, why are you letting DTR face a prevent defense? The high-end talent wasn't supposed to be for the Browns. Why are they so easily getting into field goal range? I was told there'd be endless bullshit for Pittsburgh. Why has Cleveland won the game? Why are they the ones that are 7-3? Where is the Tomlin sorcery I was promised? Figures they deflate me like this. The Steelers have to do something about how horrible their offense is. You can't simply rely on the defense making endless splash plays to win football games. Matt Canada is running a middle school offense and lacks anything resembling talent or expertise. The fans have been calling for his head since last year. Fire Canada chants have been occurring at hockey games. And we all knew it was a mistake to bring him back. Pickett has straight up regressed into nothing as of late. The position players are getting outright pissed. Deontay's accosting coaches on the sidelines. Pittsburgh and firing coaches go together like holy water and a demon, but even they couldn't let this go on. Matt Canada has been delivered his pink slip on a failed pre-snap motion. Can't believe they actually did it. The Steelers fired a coach. The last one I can remember actually being fired was Tim Lewis, almost 20 years ago. To find a coaching change in the middle of the year, you have to go back to 1941. The last time this happened, the Japanese had yet to attack Pearl Harbor. A true Thanksgiving miracle. I know it's probably going to do little for the offense, just let me have this. I need false hope. I can't believe it. Actual offense for the Steelers in a regular season game. Thought I'd never see such a sight again. Using the middle of the field, throwing to Pat Freiermuth, spreading the ball around for a balanced attack. If it weren't for Deontay Johnson dropping an easy touchdown and giving 0 fucks during a fumble, they'd have far more than 3 points at half. Too bad since he's not at full strength. Jake Browning, he was not Joe Burrow. I'll just leave it at that. Still don't know why the hell they used him like he was Burrow, but if Zach Taylor wants to lose games, that's his choice. I'm more stunned that Pittsburgh's able to move the ball more than 10 yards most drives. Even the game clocks were stunned in solidarity. They're not scoring many points, I get that, but considering the hackery of Matt Canada these past few years, this is like watching the greatest show on turf. The Steelers hadn't had 400 yards of offense for the entirety of Canada's reign and then some. They broke that total in the first game after his ouster. Pittsburgh outgained an opponent for the first time all season. It's ridiculously damning. Why did the organization let this fester for so long? Without Canada, this was their most complete win in years. It's so fucking sad. This win may be against a broken team, but tonight we burn everything Canadian. I honestly shouldn't have been surprised by this. There's at least one game a year where the Steelers play like complete shit against a bottom feeder. Playing down to competition, looking past their opponent, the Tomlin or Cowher tradition, whatever you want to call it. The hopes of last week are gone. Arizona, for as limited in talent as they are, play hard and fight for every inch they can. They'll pounce on teams that take them lightly. Say hi to Dallas for us, Pittsburgh. A golden opportunity for an easy win, and they piss on its remains like always. Any expected progression for Kenny Pickett was for naught. He fell apart with an ankle injury that forces Pittsburgh to kiss titties. The response was apparently going out of shotgun on 4th down at the goal line? Did Matt Canada even leave? I'd answer it, but the Steelers can't stop a 3rd downer Trey McBride. Pittsburgh's out of inside linebackers. They'll be starting Blake Martinez and Miles Jack by week 15. When the only highlights for them are weather delays, it was an epic embarrassment. People call this a stunning upset? It's a perennial lolcow of the week show. A damning indictment of coaching, but no real questions will be asked and the same shit will keep happening. This is what I get for huffing a shitload of opium. Some things never change. Despite the hoodie having one of the worst offenses known to man, the Steelers still can't beat fucking New England. It's one thing when their defense gets diced by quality quarterbacks, but Bailey Zappi? No inside linebackers is one thing, but the secondary's falling apart as well. The Patriots somehow scored 3 touchdowns in one half when they hadn't matched that total in a month. Absolute embarrassment for a franchise. The king is stripped of his clothes. And the worst part was that New England was begging the Steelers to steal yet another game. But Pittsburgh kept getting outcoached into a damn wall. Constant fuck-ups on offense to the point where fans were calling for Mason Rudolph to play. The Yinzers are down bad. This was a paper-soft underbelly of a schedule this past month, and Pittsburgh may have cost themselves a playoff spot in the process. New England won, but they may have cost themselves Caleb Williams. The Bears are the real winner here. And Mitch Trubisky had the best performance he's ever given that franchise. Fucking chuck a 4th and 2 at midfield. Brother, just get the first down. It's not fucking hard. By the way, Patriots, you may have won the battle, but lost the war long ago. So here we are again. The Pittsburgh Steelers have an opportunity to do something, and they shouldn't. They play 2 of the worst franchises in the NFL, and they play some of the worst football they've played in a good bit. I get their inside linebacker play has been suspect for at least 5 years. I get that this team has had some insane luck. But this is a legitimately bad football team. What I've seen is a group that has no game plan, has no coaching prowess, no desire for excellence. They only desire the standard. And that standard is coasting for mediocrity. It's shown in spades these past few weeks. A chance to secure a playoff spot, and a winning record, mind you, swatted away by horrible football. It's not even the horrible offense that's my main concern. It's the defense. That 99-yard drive by Arizona? This is supposed to be a great unit? They can't even get pressure on the Patriots! That god-awful offense was made to look like it had Tom Brady under center again. Everything that they do is wrong. Too cute when they require precision, too conservative when they require boldness. Passes by the fucking tight end on 1st down, deep balls on a critical 4th and 2. Everything fucking wrong. It's been the same damn song and dance for years, yet no one acknowledges it. It might be a crash back to reality, but that makes it even worse. It's a damning indictment on every single aspect of the organization, especially game planning and coaching. Nobody gives a shit on the field. Nobody! So how do they win football games? Be bailed out by splash plays by the defense and fluke bullshit? Are we supposed to hope that the Ravens drop 9 passes, or Brett Maher misses 3 kicks, or Harrison Bryant flubs a pass, or Josh McDaniels is a fucking idiot? Does this team even prepare? What the fuck are we even doing here? Do we just hope that TJ Watt goes into God mode and masks an outdated defensive scheme without inside linebackers? Why does the secondary look god-awful against terrible offenses? Is it so they can get blown the fuck out by real teams? Jaylen Warren is the best weapon on the offense that they keep feeding the ball to Najee for what I can only call stubbornness. Maybe that's why every damn wideout on the roster has become cancer over the past 6 or 7 years. They don't even use George Pickens. He's our Kyle Pitts. This team is living in its fears. The Steeler way as it stands now does not compute with the modern NFL. It must evolve. Yet RD2's gonna LARP as his dad without anything that made him great, featuring a head coach that should have been fired after 2018. Do you want to know the absolute worst part of all this? It's that they dropped this tiny morsel of hope for us throughout the year. This time, it's gonna be different. Things are starting to turn around. The offense is looking average for the first time in years. I'm finally huffing hopium about the team again. But do you know what happens? The same goddamn blue balling against one of the easiest schedules in fucking football because nobody can bother to be motivated by it. No, I'm not gonna call for change. Guess it's obvious that the organization doesn't want to. Matt Canada was a symptom of the problem. Yes, the dude ran a middle school offense, but he should have never been brought back in the first place. All that matters is the standard. Go bullshit your way to a 9-win season so you can celebrate the most overrated stat in the NFL. Plan the goddamn parade on fucking West General Robinson Street. Call me fat, sassy, and spoiled, call me entitled all you want, but I'm just tired. We've been running the same damn hamster wheel over and over and over for the past 5 fucking years at minimum. I'm just fucking done. I'll see you next week. The better team won here. The Steelers have repeatedly owned Indianapolis nearly every time they've played them over the past 50 years, but it wasn't today. They signed their death warrant. The splash plays and fluke bullshit came early, and by hook or crook, they've scored 13 straight. Indianapolis proceeded to score 30 unanswered. Every flaw about Pittsburgh and their fraudulence was laid bare for all to see. The Colts saw a dull, uninspired team and pounced on the opportunity, torching a defense without inside linebackers or safeties, as DeMonte KZ became Mike Mitchell and Minka became a victim of injury. That's not even an excuse. The Colts were without a huge chunk of their offensive weapons. I called for Tomlin's head back in 2018, but I could always say that, the players loved him and they played hard no matter what. Here, I saw a team that gave up. The whole roster's planning January vacations. And the result is Pittsburgh getting coached into a blender. Losing 4 of 5 against supposedly easy opponents. This is a collapse. And the sooner I don't have to see Kiss and Titties be ass or Najee imitating Trent Richardson, the better. Know how bad it is? Mason Rudolph was taken out of the attic and dusted off. Pack it in, the season's over. Well done, Indy. You're that much closer to a playoff berth. May the hopium consume you whole. Oh, great. Now the Steelers bother to show up for a game. Now they outright crush a divisional foe when the season's been pissed away. Now the Bengals turn into a pumpkin after midnight. I don't know how a team has the most convincing, seamless victory in years, yet I'm pissed at them for it. With Mason Rudolph, the red zone reindeer, starting, you'd think Cincy would ride the great momentum they had to a win, but this wasn't just a blown tire. Both damn axles fell off. The Jake Browning Cinderella story has seemingly come to an end. Forcing terrible passes, unable to read Pittsburgh's defensive backups, just an all-around disaster. I don't know what the fuck their game plan was, but it was apparently to allow George Pickens to have a breakout game and Mike Tomlin to bullshit to another winning season. The road was hard in general, but the Bengals have all but bungled a playoff spot. Tends to happen when you can't stop the run and go winless in your own division. It's poetry, as has always been written in the book of the AFC North. But seriously, Pittsburgh, I'd be a lot more satisfied if you didn't shit it against damn 2-win teams. When the meaningless streak of 500 or better seasons is in peril, the Steelers go into overdrive. They will never let the narratives and hollow platitudes be free from life. As Mason Rudolph, the red zone reindeer, gets another chance to fight for an NFL job next season, Pittsburgh's finally playing like a team worthy of January. They straight up bully-balled Seattle in front of their own damn crowd. Every flaw of the Seahawks laid bare on a blank canvas. The terrible run defense, the poor game planning, the limitations of Geno Smith and the team as a whole. Their defensive front seven got shit-wrecked. They not only made Jalen Warren look elite, they justified Najee Harris's first-round grade. Being beaten in the trenches by this offensive line, allowing the Steelers' offense to dominate. I thought they were frauds 6 weeks ago? I was wrong. Frauds at least put up a fight. Seattle couldn't. Not only is this loss going to potentially cost them the playoffs, it unleashes the worst punishment of all. Another non-losing season for Mike Tomlin. Steelers get their modern version of the Super Bowl. If they're lucky, they'll get their asses kicked in the wildcard round. Buffalo, Houston, and Indy only need wins to clinch a playoff spot. Pittsburgh, however, needs some help to get a backdoor entry. Either a Bills or Jaguars loss. But they have to take care of their own business. For the bullshit to continue to be real, the Steelers will have to unravel the mystery of Baltimore. The good news is that the Ravens are resting plenty of starters since there's nothing to play for. The bad? It's all but in a monsoon. And the refs from the Detroit-Dallas fuckery are on assignment. Not that it really matters in these elements. Amplify that by peak AFC North football and you get trench warfare. Endless grinding and plotting in the rain-soaked fields of battle. There's not much to say except that it was a game and it somehow happened. With a shitload of fumbles and punts, but it happened. In most situations involving ugly weather and the Ravens, Pittsburgh comes out on top. It's more of an asterisk win since Baltimore was playing a huge chunk of backups, but they'll take it all the same. Who doesn't want Najee to burst through for big games or Deontay Johnson to catch a football? 9 wins, 10 wins, no matter. Steelers require help to lose by 20 in the wildcard round. And they'll need more than that to survive a major injury to TJ Watt. I lied. They're losing by more than 20 if they make it. What have you done, NFL? They made it? With one of the worst offenses in recent history for most of the year. With fans clamoring to burn Canada to the ground at hockey games. Featuring a defense starting old guys from the couch at linebacker and a secondary made of yarn and scotch tape. Don't tell me the bullshit isn't real. The standard must be maintained at any cost. And it's morphed into fringe playoff contention and getting destroyed by real teams. The boil on the league's ass. Imagine escaping death by means of defensive splash plays, fluke bullshit, and Deus Ex Machina. Now make that a team's entire philosophy. You have Pittsburgh. Blessed with Mason Rudolph, the red zone reindeer, and a running game suddenly gaining traction, you have a team that rivals their late 80s counterpart. Squarely on the carousel of mediocrity with no end in sight. And they'll have to ride it without TJ Watt as well. The team is complacent, they'll take the wrong message from this playoff berth, and nothing's going to change when a lot of things desperately need to. Fuck it, they're going to the Super Bowl. With seeking. The least surprising outcome in the world. Fortunately, fluke bullshit and endless chaos could not reign supreme in the AFC. The Steelers in no way, shape, or form belonged here. They had to play perfect football to have a chance, and they didn't. Too many mistakes doomed them against a vengeful fire god, losing to a significantly better team that chose not to toy with their prey. Worst of all, Pittsburgh can simply say this year was successful since they backdoored into the playoffs and were within one score at one point. This team cannot stay complacent. Being bailed out by defensive splash plays isn't sustainable. They must be aggressive in the offseason. But knowing how RD2 doesn't like to rock the boat, the Steelers will simply trot out the same shit next year and nothing changes. Great. I can't wait for Mark Whipple to be the O coordinator. I won't believe anything else until I see it happen.